about our campaign is, like what you were mentioned, we had Bernie supporters, we had Yang Gang supporters, we had Marianne Williamson supporters, we had even those that considered themselves moderate also voting for us because they're also sick and tired of the status quo and nothing changing. Here in LA, we're pretty much used for statistics in terms of the number of unhoused residents climbing each year and the number of people not having housing and healthcare. But we're not, but we're more than that. We're thousands and millions of people and lives and communities and not just statistics. And so I think it's really comes down to a time where these leaders need to act from their heart, act and lead with compassion. And so that's what we're doing with our campaign. And I think that's what everybody connected to.
What are the biggest issues facing Los Angelenos these days? Obviously, we talk about cost of living. To live in Los Angeles, it's almost near impossible these days to actually, in terms of, where the minimum wage is, what the job opportunities are, especially in the neighborhoods, obviously, that you're looking to represent. Obviously, I would imagine healthcare, the environment.
I'm going to go with traffic is my biggest problem with LA. Now, my husband's from the area, and he says he'll only go if he doesn't ever have to get on the 405. Sorry.
Yeah.
So what would you say are the biggest issues?
What are your big issues there?
Well, I think the biggest issues, and these are issues that I know that Jen and her campaign were fighting for last time, is of course, single payer healthcare, in terms of environmental justice. Climate change is real, and you see the effects in these heat islands all over the city, and then also during the winter when you see here in LA. That we have more unhoused people dying from hypothermia than unhoused residents in New York. And so with all of this in play, like, I don't know how possible it is to prioritize one area over the other, but one thing for sure is that our number of people experiencing houselessness here in the city continues to grow and grow astronomically. So why don't we have leaders on the city, state, and federal level all working together and talking and communicating instead of using their own ideas and their own egos and their own resources to do all of these separate projects here and there instead of working together in that sense. And so that's one big downfall. And the number two, like, the incumbent, you would think that in a city and in a district that's experiencing houselessness, you would really lead and push on issues regarding housing. But this incumbent hasn't co-sponsored a single major housing bill in Congress, and there's plenty. There's at least 11 big ones. He hasn't co-sponsored a single one, yet he's going around taking photos with the squad saying that he's progressive. And it's like, if the only thing that you took from our campaign is taking pictures with the squad to take hold of your position, I don't think you understood why we ran. Like, I don't see you really fighting for these issues like the homes guarantee. And so I think, going back to your question, definitely housing would be at the top, healthcare would be at the top. I worked as a juvenile dependency attorney the past year in 2020, and a lot of my clients were vulnerable, Black and brown, didn't have housing and healthcare, and they were being punished for having no resources and having their children taken away from them and put into foster care. And so I think all of those issues matter. But I think at the end of the day, the reason why we can't really push for more change is because of this corporate duopoly that's happening, where corporate PAC money and special interest money is keeping these leaders indifferent and apathetic, and where it keeps them reelected. Why do we meddle into foreign affairs? Because American money's at stake. Their financial interests are at stake. Why do we have big farm and people still not having healthcare? Why do we say that you're co-sponsoring Medicare, but then we still don't have it? Because you're taking corporate PAC special interest money. And so I think one of the top things at my list is taking money out of politics, and I will be super aggressive and ruthless about it. I don't think that's something to be co-opted about in any degree. And then going back to your traffic one, because I do know that that's something that you want me to comment on. The traffic
I want you to fix the traffic problem. Okay, that's what I'm saying to you. If we elect you, will you fix the traffic problem?
No, but I think with that too, Jen, I think it's very important, because when we're getting federal money, infrastructure money, the first thing that's done is to create an even more complex traffic system here in the city instead of fixing it. And so I don't think the solution is necessarily, I mean, yes, you would think expanding lanes, but why aren't we allowing free public transportation here in LA? And why aren't we building upon that? Because we're not investing into that, we're really creating this classist society even more, where because we're not investing into our public transportation system and making it free, of course we're not going to have buses that run a lot. Of course we're not going to have subways that run a lot. But if you actually make that your priority, we can become a commuter city, and some a city that's really good at it. And so I think those are things that we can think outside of the box with, but we're not. And so again, there needs to be communication between city, state, and federal officials, not each level working on their own. But that's what's happening here in LA.
I think a big part of it, why things don't get done, is people that are elected generally only come out during election season to ask for your vote. They tout any sort of thing that they may have even said they thought of doing, and they don't actually have to do anything. And then each one blames the other one. The city people will blame it on the county, and the county people will blame it on the state. Nobody does anything. That's what they do. And it is all because of corporate special interest money. And that is the primary thing that has to happen. If that happened, all of these other things would naturally fall into place. We wouldn't have to be fighting for them because we would actually live in a majority rule republic, and we would just have the things that we wanted. So it's like the money thing is the key thing.
Exactly. Yeah. It's more important than ever. And I mean, these incumbents go ahead and say, oh, but that's not affecting how I do or how I vote. Yeah, it is. Go look at your track record. Where have you been? And I mean, we have this incumbent who was against canceling student debt, against legalizing marijuana, against doing all of this. And now he's slowly changing his positions as if he's been a supporter of that for so long, just to secure his seat again. And that's not the kind of thing we're looking for. We're looking for big radical change. And in regards to taking unpopular stances where you need to, he doesn't want to do it unless he feels that a majority of the quote unquote progressive caucus is on board. Then he'll be on board. Otherwise, he won't take a stance before the majority of progressive caucus does.
We know it's going to be a very long time before we even have a chance to get Medicare for all to the floor in Congress. However, it does look like this legislative session in Sacramento, there may just be a chance to get CalCare enough momentum where it might be possible. Is that something that, even though that this is a statewide issue, that you are focusing on in terms of your campaign to see if we can bring single payer healthcare? Because again, as it happened in Canada, it passed in Saskatchewan and then passed through the provinces. We think the way it's going to pass in the States is it's going to have to pass in a major state like New York or California. And then once that happens, it's going to spiral the rest of the country. Is that something that you see happening? And is that an initiative that you are, helping the cause for?
Of course he is.
Yeah. Jen's been on a interview with me before, so she's like for me. You can actually be my alias. But yeah, no, I definitely see that happening. In regards to CalCare, it's super important that we pass it, AB 1400. In regards to, because even if you look at the different movements that have happened in United States and prior, whether it be with the suffrage movement and whatnot, like states have to start first, because federal, unfortunately, for some reason, they don't get a clue until the states start doing it. And so in regards to CalCare, that's why we went and actively do support and have shown up. This past Saturday, there was a car caravan statewide action, and so we did also participate in our district, and it reminded me of the Yang Gang Basic Income Days, where we did a basic income car parade. But yeah, CalCare, we did that, and it's super important that we continue to do that. So if you're in a state that doesn't have that, like, have hope, continue to organize, start from where you're at right now, because this is also a battle that didn't just come up like that and was done. I mean, it was done because of the long work and patience of a lot of organizers in different parts of the state as well.
Thanks for watching. If you want to support our mission to transform politics into service, please like this video, subscribe, follow us on social media, and consider joining our Patreon, where you'll get early access to our interviews as well as other exclusive content. Links are in the description. Peace out.